Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the ICC Hour here on Super Talk Mississippi 101.9 FM. As always, the ICC Hour is being brought to you by our friends at Renaissance Bank. They are the bank that understands you. You can find out why by visiting renaissancebank.com. We're going to dive right into today's show and welcome our guest, Dr. Allen, the president here at Itawamba Community College. And Dr. Allen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Adam. As always, it's great to visit with you.
Dr. Allen, this is a part of the job we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the legislative season.
Yes,
and it's a big one, and I really hope people are paying attention to what's going on in Jackson, because I feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg of them making decisions that's really going to shape the state for the next 100 years.
Absolutely.
So with that going on, of course, you're hearing taxes, income tax, grocery tax, tax, all that changing. As a lobbyist for community colleges, and I hate to use the word lobbyist because that's kind of a bad advocate.
How about advocate? Yes.
There you go. It seems to me that's going to make it a little bit tougher for you guys to kind of get in there and, for lack of better words, get after it whenever it comes to advocating for the community colleges.
Well, you know, I've been there last week, actually the last 2 weeks, and already, and so I've caught week 1 and 2. You know, I usually catch most every week. I'll miss 3 or 4 weeks for a variety of reasons, but it's been very beneficial for my time there. It's not time I necessarily don't think I enjoy that as part of my job. I really don't. I enjoy the people, by and large. I don't enjoy that process. But I can tell you that they are dealing with very difficult, complex items. And I'm reminded every year, it opens my eyes every year as to the complexity when you create a bill. Mm-hmm. One simple word can make it devastating or wonderful. Mm-hmm. And leaving something out, putting something in can wreak havoc or not. And so we have to look at a lot of things that you would think don't even impact us, but it might. And so we have to dive into that. I haven't got the count yet because the bills, I think the deadline is coming up. It was last week, so I don't have that list yet, but it is going to be a large number of bills that will have been submitted and created. Many of them will not see the light of day. A small portion will. And as the session rolls on, we begin to dive in our focus to more details as we get further along. So all that being said, there's sometimes I spend time with my fellow presidents trying to kill bills that would be harmful. Right. Or get things added to bills that could be good, that would make it even better. You're right. There's a lot of things being discussed that will eat up a lot of the oxygen in the Capitol. Sometimes it will eat up the money, but also eats up the time. And so they rarely ever touch our budget till the end of the session. So, you know, we have to kind of ride that out. We've already had conversations with them. And I can share with you too about kind of our ask, but also it's building relationships. It's building trust. It's building the ability for them to know they can come ask us for guidance and direction, information, data, whatever the case. I simply have them sometimes come and ask, how would this impact y'all? And I'm like, well, that really wouldn't impact us. And they're not really. And I'm like, well, here's why. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, great. Then they can go and make a more informed decision, which is what I want.
Yeah. Yes. So, all right. So you kind of touched on it there. You talked about the college. This is what's so unique to me.
Yes.
One, you have to keep the interest of ICC in there, but also you've got to work with your other fellow presidents for the greater good of the community college
100%.
system. How does that work? How do you find the balance?
So I learned a long time ago, I worked at Hines for 16 years with Dr. Clyde Muse and, unbelievable tenure in community colleges in Mississippi, tremendous impact at the Capitol. And, I learned from him that you don't burn bridges just because a representative or senator does something that we see as harmful to us today. It's been his experience and mine that very one will come along and save you the next year, as early as the next year.
Right.
It's not necessarily logical at times, but it is just the way it is. So the 15 presidents come together. We agree upon a set of items to ask for. We go in and we ask for that. We begin to advocate on the behalf of our colleges as a whole what this would do for us and make an impact, and how we can begin to move specific needles forward for the state of Mississippi. Workforce training, education, all those things. Earning potential, huge. So The balance for me is I look at it as if the 15 win, ICC wins. Mm-hmm. It's not a win-loss scenario necessarily. It's got to be that when we all win, we all win.
Right.
And that's what I push for. Even sometimes saying, no, this needs to be done for the 15, not just for ICC, because the value is so much greater. There will be winners and losers if we don't, and there have been. And so that's something I really advocate for. I also look at it as I've got to build the trust, not only of the 14 other presidents and their teams, but of those legislators, that they know that when they see me go in behind that closed door, I'm working on behalf of the 15,
right?
Not on ICC.
Right.
Legislative sessions, a lot of ideas are bounced around. I receive some of those bounces at times. Hey, what about this? What could we do? And it doesn't always come to fruition. Sometimes it takes 2 and 3 years to get something to become a reality. We even have asks that have no money tied to them at all. We're like, this doesn't take any money, but boy, it would be a game changer if we could have this take place. And it might save us money as colleges. So it's not always asking for money. It's sometimes asking for general bill legislation that would be really a game changer for us. And
that's really something you got to keep a good balance on, because money's a sensitive topic.
Absolutely.
And it's
never enough.
It's never enough. No matter, it's never enough. Yeah. So you don't want to be well, here comes Dr. Allen, and you don't want a legislative member to say, oh, I'm going to duck behind this curtain because he's going to ask me for money.
Yep.
How do you balance that? I mean, I know you got to have the friendship, the business, and then just here it is, put it on the table.
You develop relationships where you can put it on the table. You can ask. You can go up and say, I know you had a reason for the vote. Help me understand why you would vote against us. And they do. And I'm like, I don't blame you. I get it. I get it. I hate you weren't in that situation. I hate we weren't in that situation. I hate we were in that situation. I hate you were in it. So I understand. But how can we move forward is really the ultimate goal. And so you have to do that. I have to think too about education as a whole. Many times we're working in conglomeration with our university partners. State financial aid goals are huge. That's a win for everybody. So it's navigating it to where it is a win for everybody, but also navigating it to where the dollars, it makes sense for the state to spend in that area. Will it solve my budget problem? No, but it will solve families' budget problems or help, which then could bring us more students, which then could help our budget problems. But so it's a huge big picture, and you got to see the whole thing and understand if it swings too far one direction, somebody's losing on the other side of that pendulum where it's swinging away from. In K-12. What happens in K-12 will impact us. And so school choice is on the table this year. Again, that will eat up time, energy, oxygen in that building. Could it impact us because we lose some of the of attention on other things? It could, but it's a much bigger impact on K-12, you know. And so we try to stay abreast of what those topics are, what those issues are, have a little bit of understanding of how that might impact. We find ourselves partnering with state agencies at time or disagreeing with state agencies at time, not necessarily on a money issue, but more on a general bill issue. But it's also finding ways to work together with them. So the legislative session creates unique partnerships, logical partnerships, and some that are illogical, but they work. And so we have to work through all of those. But it takes time and energy, and it's really about relationships.
It feels like the deck is stacked against you before you even start your business. What's the difference between someone who fails and someone who succeeds? To succeed, you need an edge. You might invent technology that nobody else can imagine. Maybe you make the perfect product with the perfect fit. But what every successful business has is a bank that is there for them. Instead of saying slow down, a bank that asks, what's next? Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
When injury knocks you out, Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi will be there for you every step of the way. We are here to get you back in the game, back in motion, back to your life. Our elite team of orthopedic specialists will work side by side with you, educating you about your treatment plan, utilizing advanced technology, and providing you with a successful path to recovery. Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi. We will get you back.
They say Diet Coke is a mom's drink. Well, you copied her jeans, her spin, her shoes, her scrunchie, and whether you realize it or not, her music. Now, copy her drink. Drink what your mama gave you.
Hey, honey, could you help me with this? Today tastes like staying in. And it never tasted this good.
That's home. That's just like the Ravens. That's just like Pahokee, Florida. That's my second home. I got my degree from there, my first degree, college degree. It's part of my heart, it's part of my soul, it's part of my spirit. And, you know, it's everything. Itawamba Community College, baby, it's everything. It shaped me up to being a great man because it was part of the journey of me becoming the young man I am today. And it's home, man. That's it. Like, I can go there and lay my head down without no problems. Itawamba Community College, the best start here.
And, you know, I'm not a political person. I get turned off by it at times, but I love to see how things work. I know you and I have talked about this before, and it just intrigues me so much to see the process of step A eventually getting to step Z, if you can.
That's right.
But you mentioned the ask.
Yes.
Talk about some of that that you guys are going to go in for this this legislation session.
So in one of our legislative hearings in the House last week, the statement was made, without a doubt, always our priority is going to be to protect our people, to retain our people, to grow our people, and salary improvements is how we do part of that. It's not just that we have a budget to operate our college, but we got to be able to pay people to attract them to come work for us, to keep them working for us, and to keep quality people from getting them and keeping them here and all. And so salary improvements, a 5% increase, which would cost all 15 community colleges would be $23 million. We've made similar requests in the last couple of years. We haven't got that full amount, but I think the number was about an 8% increase in what we've received over the last maybe 3 or 4 years, which is great. The only problem, I think inflation was 9% or better just last year. So it's hard to keep up. And so it will remain one of our top priorities. And we are thankful for the legislature for what they've provided in that arena and so many other areas. Basic operational costs, there's a 3.4% inflationary factor is what we calculated in. It's $14 million. Somebody shared the other day just liability insurance for their college had gone up 67% in about a 3-year period. Those are real costs. The average employee doesn't see that. We don't think about it on a daily basis, but as I look at our insurance cost, they have without a doubt gone up. And so there's a lot of factors into that, but that's just one of the many bills that we have to pay.
Yeah.
Fuel cost alone can make a huge impact on us, and heating costs, those type of things. So those factors come in. And then Career and Technical Education Advantage program, we call it CTE Advantage. This has been a huge program for us for 3 years now. And it's connected ultimately through Donnie Bell's House committees where it really started, and then the House Workforce Education Committee, and then the Senate helping to make this occur in the same committee. $5 million the first year, $10 million years 2 and 3 each. We're asking for a $5 million increase on that, so get that to $15 million. What that does, Adam, is it helps us to close the cost difference between an academic student, an academic FTE, and a career technical FTE, or career FTE as we call it. It costs us $3,000 more to educate a career technical student than an academic student. And you think about it. English classroom, dry erase board, overhead projector, our LED screens, some dry erase markers, and you're kind of ready to go.
Yeah.
You get into our career technical programs, our health science programs, the labs alone can be $1 million lab, and we haven't even put a body in there yet,
Right. Yep.
Not that we're buying that every year, but we have to maintain that. We have to add supportive equipment around it, licenses for that technology and the like. Those very intelligent mannequins, you can't call them dummies, in our health science programs, man, they're tremendous in what they allow us to do, those simulators, but they cost a lot of money.
Right.
And you have to maintain those. And so those are very expensive programs. They have a limited number of seats in many of those health care programs, health-related programs, but we also have limited number in our technology-driven programs simply because of lab space. So they're more expensive. So this helps us lower that gap between that academic and career tech. The community colleges as a whole lost $14 million in career tech education last year.
Wow.
That's revenue over expenses, or I would say in that case, expenses over revenue.
Right.
But $14 million. There's no industry, there's no business that would continue to do business that way.
Yeah.
But we know the financial, the economic impact it makes on our communities and our people that we're serving. So we continue to do that. We just got to find ways to make that more cost effective.
Right.
Capital improvements. Last item here. Huge impact. $100 million is what we're asking for. That is not an outrageous request. It is not what we've been getting. It is, in my opinion, very needed and very appropriate ask for the 15 colleges. That'd be divided 15 ways.
Right.
There's a formula that we use to divide it, half by FTE, half by maybe square footage or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Anyway, there's formulas for all of that. One includes FTE, one includes square footage.
Gotcha.
Because we also get what we call capital expense, renovation, repair money. And that's how we do roofs and things like that, HVAC systems.
The stuff that don't show up.
Oh, man, yeah. You know, you replace a roof, and unless it was leaking, nobody knows you did anything.
Exactly.
But we know we spent some money.
Yes.
So those are not the fun projects that we get excited about. But it's about $142 million increase in spending ask. I know that is challenging for our state and for our legislature. But I'm already getting comments that, hey, we really want to make that $100 million capital improvement ask happen. Mm-hmm. That is typically done with bond money. Mm-hmm. The last couple of years, we've been so flush with cash, the legislature has done that without bond money.
Right.
So with just cash. So we're hopeful that they will continue that. Those things make impacts around our college, not just today, but for decades to come. Almost half a century or better to come.
Right, and that's one reason why, and you talked about it there, not necessarily getting, for lack of better words, a lump sum now.
Right.
You know, if it's one of those you say, well, we need this, and they come back, well, we can do it, but we need to do it over 3 years.
Right. And we've done some of that.
Yeah, so that's a victory.
That's right.
A lot of people are like, well, we didn't get it. No, you got it. You know, you just didn't get it all at once.
And you have to look collectively at what happens. If you only look at 1 year, you can feel like it's a failure. Mm-hmm. But you have to look at it multiple years back and go, look, collectively we've done really well in this. We could do better. So let's change the way we look at that. We ask our legislators. We have a legislative workshop every summer, the presidents do, and we go over what happened, what didn't happen, what we wish had happened, what do we want to have happen next. We bring in some legislators, ask them questions. How should we ask for these things? How should we approach this? What should we not ask for? We learn from that and try to draft what we're doing. And I'm reading this off a piece of paper that we produce as a community college system, but understand the MAC, the Mississippi Association of Community Colleges, we have literally had this piece of paper, and the day the legislature started,
and just throw it out the window.
Throw it out the window.
Yeah.
We've also had things come up like the CTE Advantage, wasn't even on our list. Mm-hmm. But it was something that had been in the works for a number of years, the right moment, the right time, the right conversations happened in the hallway, and boom, little did we know, we got $5 million new that we've never had before.
Yep.
Directed towards CTE, career technical education, unbelievable.
Right.
So it's the conversations. I often say a week of the legislature can feel like a waste, but a 5-minute conversation can make it all worthwhile. Right. Can make the whole session worthwhile. So you got to be there, but you also have to have the relationships for those conversations to even occur. So that's just something we have to work at.
And this is just the nerd in me asking this question. So you talked about it there. All of a sudden, you got a game plan. It goes out the window.
Yeah.
You know, now you're in scramble mode.
Yeah.
What do you as presidents do when you hit scramble mode? Because, I mean, you can't just – I mean, it's not like you all live in Tupelo.
Yeah.
You're all across the state, so now you're having to scramble and come
Technology
back.
helps.
Yes.
You know, we've had times where COVID was a perfect example of some Workforce CARES Act dollars and some General Education CARES Act dollars that came along where it was not on our agenda to begin with, but boom, it happened. And much of everything else had been kind of thrown out the window. The session was put on hold, and then they came back and finished up in June and July, or June, part of July. What we experienced was going out of a room, standing in the hallway, texting all the presidents, setting up a conference call, getting people on the phone, calling them individually. I've had to do that. I've had Tyler, my chief of staff, in a room writing what turned out to be legislation. He actually was writing a paragraph that for them to use as a starting point, ended up in the legislation while I'm in the hallway and out in a kind of a lobby area on the phone with every individual president verifying they're okay with what has just been proposed. So I can't answer for all 15, or all 15 of us, the other 14. And so I have to go and say, okay, let me get to them. And then we do that. We work that. There's typically 1 or 2 presidents at the Capitol every week. We have weeks that are assigned to us, and then we have other weeks we just show up. And there's crucial days, crucial moments in the session where we try, as many of us can be there, try to be there. So we do that. It's just part of the process. You never know when the phone call will come. But technology helps a lot. And our partners, Daniel Sparks chairing workforce in the Senate, Senator Sparks, Donnie Bell chairing workforce in the House, that makes large impacts for us. I chair workforce for the presidents. So having both of those be serving our community college makes it much easier for me to have those relationships, have those conversations. Senator Parker, who used to chair workforce in the Senate, was great to work with as well. But it's being able to move around and have conversations. Donnie Scoggins, chairman of college universities, and then in the House, and then Nicole Boyd-Atkins chairing the Senate side for college universities, having the relationship with those two individuals massively important. The ability to just text them and say, what if? And get feedback is huge.
Right. You kind of touched on some names there, and I don't want to put you on the spot because you may be like me. You don't want to leave somebody out. But, I use the term champions.
Yeah.
Who are some champions for the community college system?
Well, there's more than you think. Even our local legislators that may not be chairing a committee, they're on a committee, they can be the champion for us simply because they have a vote. They have a vote on the floor when it comes to that bill being passed or not. They can ask questions. They can challenge things. They can voice our concerns if they feel comfortable doing so. So they're ultimately all can be champions for us. Obviously, with Donnie Scoggins, Donnie Bell in the House chairing that, college universities and workforce are champions for us. Donnie Scoggins' wife was the head of nursing at Jones before she retired. So he gets it. He knows. He's actually a nurse practitioner, so he understands the impact that we're making. Donnie understands that impact from the workforce side. He's been around it for so long in career technical ed. Then you look over at the Senate with Daniel Sparks and Nicole. They're desk mates, and they say the only way that really works is because they're both have messy desks, so it works out for them to have messy desks together. Yes. But they're desk mates on the floor. Their ability to work together, their ability to navigate things on that Senate side is huge for us. So they become champions for us. But there's so many others. We've been blessed with the Lieutenant Governor, Delbert, really focusing on community colleges, trying to create a free tuition system. Having that conversation, him remembering, thinking about our students and the impact that can make on families is huge. Yep. Jason White, Speaker of the House, having his desire to see community colleges grow. He was our graduation speaker last year. His understanding of what we do is huge. I have a lot of legislators that will take topics to those key leaders for us. And that's huge. It really is. Some of them are in our district. Some of them are not. Right. But through my years of working my way around the state at two other colleges in our state, I've built some relationships that we can call on and say, hey, we need some help. Briggs Hobson, Senator Hobson, chairman of appropriations in the Senate, was up here and spent a couple of days touring around with Chad McMahon and others, North Mississippi. And he got to see a lot of things in our region, and I think he has a better understanding of the impact that Tupelo and that surrounding area has on this part of the state. That never hurts. Absolutely. That was a great segment there, Dr. Allen. We need to take a break. Probably already ran through a break. Yes. But when we do come back, we'll continue to talk about the athletics, the fine arts, and more here on the ICC Hour, brought to you by Renaissance Bank.
You're always pushing yourself. There's no time to rest. You keep moving forward. The only thing better than your last accomplishment is your next.
What's next? What's next?
What's next?
So, Allie, what's next?
I guess we'll see.
Find a bank that's as excited about your future as you are. A bank that asks,
"What's next?"
Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
AE drink Sprite? AE drink Sprite.
You want to hoop like Anthony Edwards? Practice. You want a refreshing drink? Obey your thirst. And I tried to tell him, man.
Oh, I know. Sprite, obey your thirst.
When injury knocks you out, Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi will be there for you every step of the way. We are here to get you back in the game, back in motion, back to your life. Our elite team of orthopedic specialists will work side by side with you, educating you about your treatment plan, utilizing advanced technology, and providing you with a successful path to recovery. Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi. We will get you back.
Enjoy.
Stuffed crust, buttery garlic spread. Little Caesars really stepped it up with their stuffed crazy crust.
They really jazzed it up. Yeah!
They really plussed this crust up.
They really dolled it up.
Everyone out my house. How did y'all even get in here?
The housekeeper gave me a key. Order stuffed crazy crust for $9.49 and get your game day delivered with Little Caesars.
Pizza.
It feels like the deck is stacked against you before you even start your business. What's the difference between someone who fails and someone who succeeds? To succeed, you need an edge. You might invent technology that nobody else can imagine. Maybe you make the perfect product with the perfect fit. But what every successful business has is a bank that is there for them. Instead of saying slow down, a bank that asks, what's next? Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
Here, you can be your best. The best train here. Learn here. Succeed here. Perform here. Win here. Thrive here. Itawamba Community College. The best start here.
And welcome back to the ICC Hour here on Super Talk Mississippi 101.9 FM as we continue our conversation here with ICC President Dr. Jay Allen. And we just got out talking about the legislature. We could probably talk about that for weeks and weeks and weeks to come. But we'll shift gears now. Look at the I call it the fun side of the college. You got the athletics and fine arts side of the college. Why is the athletics and fine arts, why is that so important to the heartbeat of the college?
Well, it's part of what makes our college environment fun. If we're crazy to think that every student has come to college simply for gain knowledge, we probably are a little misguided ourselves. Everybody wants to have fun at what you're doing. Right. I mean, of course. It's kind of like I go to the Capitol because I have to. Right. But when I get to spend time with our students, I'm reminded why I deal with difficult things at times, And so that's part of what fine arts, those students performing on those stages, out on those fields, it's amazing to watch what they can do. They're so talented. We get so much out of them. They put so much into it. They give of themselves to our college to make experiences. It would be hard-pressed for us to have the environment we have without them. Athletics adds to that. You have a football program, so now you have a 220-member marching band that then fills up your fine art programs, So it's a circle, it's a cycle. You can't have one without the other in some respects. You have a cheerleading team that then performs and competes and all. You've got so many opportunities that come because of our athletics and because of our fine arts. I hope more of our community people will come and enjoy both athletics and fine arts. When they do the jazz band performances, the stage band, it's amazing to see what those students have done. But also think about student activities and Indians Got Talent, and Indian Idol and all. We do one in the fall and the spring, the open mic nights. Many of our fine arts students are in those performances, and they're showing their talent. What's funny is to see a guy that's playing a horn in the band gets up on stage and sings.
Yes.
And then I'm like, I just forgot. He's in the choir as well, but he's up singing and winning one of our talent competitions. It's so neat to see that occur. So it's an integral part of what we do.
Yep, and I'm with you. I love to see the showcase of the talents of our kids. And it could be a kid that's like, I can sing, but I've never done this before. Then now he steps out, gains that confidence, and that confidence leads to the confidence in the classroom.
That's right.
In that sense. But you talked about
and they build memories and relationships and experiences, and some of them would not have come to college without that.
Right.
And so we get them here, then it's what can we do with them when we got them here.
Right. And, you talked about the football team, turnaround season.
Yes.
Play away from making the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Soccer, women went nationally ranked, men made a deep run. Both of them made a deep run in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Volleyball finished second in the conference. I actually had our first All-American name this year.
Yes.
And then
Lexi was that.
Yeah, Lexi. And then basketball, they're making a great run right now.
Yes,
both teams.
absolutely.
I think,
big win last week.
Yep. And then spring sports, they're just starting.
Man, think about it. Baseball start before January's over. Softball starts, I think, February 4th.
Yep.
I'm not real sure why they start in the coldest, wettest months, but they do.
And that's how I know when it's baseball, softball season, when the snow and the ice and the rain and everything comes.
That's right. Yeah. And you finish that. You start the season bundled up, and you finish the season in shorts and a T-shirt because it is massively hot. So we get both ends of the spectrum with those sports. Tennis is starting up. I think they get into February before they really
the first week of February.
And it gets cold and wet for them as well, so they'll have some reschedules. Golf is starting up here soon for their spring season. It's really amazing how many athletes we have, the talents that they're bringing to the table, what our coaches are doing and growing them, and the opportunities they have to play that sport when they leave us, if they want to.
Right.
Some are like, hey, you know what? It's been a great run. I'm going to focus on academics for the next 2 years and get towards my career. And others are like, I need it as a way to pay for my next 2 years.
Right.
Glad that they have that opportunity, And some of them are wanting to do it because they also have that ambition of playing beyond even college.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of success with that in multiple sports. So it's that total package of what we have to offer. We also have so many great instructional support services to help our athletes be successful. It doesn't mean that our athletes aren't smart at all. I'm not saying that. But they have so much time away, so many hours of practice a week, so many other things tugging at their time. Plus, they're students. They need to enjoy BSU and Wesley and FCA and all the other opportunities that are here, student government and the like. But they've got a lot of things tugging at them. So there's some support services there to help them meet those challenges. Our coaches are mindful of that. They require study halls in many cases to make sure students are successful. It's also interesting this year to see our punter.
Yes.
Carson was in our respiratory therapy program over at our health science building at Tupelo campus. We had a soccer player that was in one of our programs at the Belden Center, electrical or something, or industrial maintenance tech. It's great to see those students even getting out beyond the normal academic programs as well.
Right. And then, I'm actually going to bring up this ugly word.
Yes.
NIL.
Yeah,
it's coming. It's
we already
here.
We already have some community colleges doing it.
So, how do you see that shaping? How is that going to really affect? We won't just say necessarily ICC. Let's talk broad about the community colleges.
I think colleges as a whole, college universities as a whole, I don't think NIL as it is today is a great thing.
Right, I'm with you on that.
I think there were probably some better scenarios that would have kept things within a level of control. Profit sharing concept has a lot of merit. At the university setting, an NIL profit sharing type concept is probably not a bad idea, but when an institution could make a ton of money off of a sport or then off of players, you could get philosophically, I could make the argument, well, then yes, that students should have the ability to reap some of those rewards as well. Whether that had been set up in a trust, the student would get at a later date, whether it would be a higher cost of living supplement that they would get. I'm not opposed to many of those things. I don't know that NIL has solved all of that, because you still have some students that are getting huge amounts, student athletes getting huge amounts, and others getting minimal at best. There are some community colleges that are doing NIL, as I understand it. I don't really see that as a practical thing in the community college world. Nothing against our student athletes. If they can make money off of their name, image, likeness, I'm not opposed to that.
Right.
I think where the real challenge comes in is for us to go out and raise money, as difficult as that is for community colleges, specifically for a sport that is not generating revenue like it might at a university level.
Right.
I think those are challenges. I don't have a solution.
Right.
I'm afraid that it begins to negate the amateur sports that we have. The beauty of watching any of our sports, Adam, to me, is that you don't know who on that field, diamond, or court may be playing at the next level, Division I, SEC even, Pro 2 years after us. You don't know.
Right.
We've got them. We still have pros in the NFL. We've got them in Major League Baseball. We've got them playing at universities. Major contributors at university. You just don't know, and how neat it is to see that. You can build a relationship with that kid if you're their classmate in this environment.
Right.
It's much harder to do at a university level. You know?
I always like to tell the story of Hootie when he pitched here at ICC. And, of course, went to Mississippi State, was a pivotal pitcher when Mississippi State made the run to the World Series.
100%.
Well, I got to know Hootie great.
Yes.
He had 0 offers out of high school.
Yep.
Rick happened to find him and gave him the opportunity. And, man, you talk about making the best of an opportunity. Well, they went through Notre Dame, and I was at the game with my Notre Dame shirt on.
Yes.
And Hootie was just like, what's up? And I was like, hey, I'm Notre Dame until you're on the mound.
That's right.
So,
and he got on the mound, and he had about 5 innings of
he made us look bad.
Huge impact. Huge impact. He made Notre Dame look real bad. Yes. We love that.
Yes.
But I didn't even know Hootie's name was Harding, and until later on. I just thought it was Hootie. But being able to visit with those guys, and there's a number of them from that era and the last couple of years that have made it onto the pros, and it's so neat to see them come back and watch games, talk about playing each other in the minors, and they're playing each other and how they get to visit before and after games. It's so neat to have that. We honored Pernell McPhee last year as our Mississippi Community College Sports Hall of Fame inductee.
Yep.
What a neat environment to sit and visit with him, to hear about, who was the toughest one to tackle. And we talked through those things, and then he's at Michigan working and coaching, and it's so neat to see that. But it's also neat to have our players now to understand they can reach that.
Right.
But it is not about. You don't get there without the work. You got to put the work in.
Right.
And so I think that's important for us. And if that's the driving factor for them to get their education, I'm good with that.
Yes.
We can ride that and help them get where they want to be. Because at the end of the day, as I tell all of our athletes when we're having our Powerade visits with them before the season starts, you may not be able to play this sport. Your body will age. Your skill sets may wane. But no one will ever take your education away from you.
Yes.
And that is a guaranteed way you can earn a living and provide for your family, if nothing else. And so we hope that they will embrace that.
It feels like the deck is stacked against you before you even start your business. What's the difference between someone who fails and someone who succeeds? To succeed, you need an edge. You might invent technology that nobody else can imagine. Maybe you make the perfect product with the perfect fit. But what every successful business has is a bank that is there for them. Instead of saying slow down, a bank that asks, what's next? Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
It's the Fast Break Sports Show that starts your day. Mississippi Sports Today, Tuesday through Friday at 9. And if you don't catch it at 9, the MST podcast is on wherever you listen, with a team of hosts like no other.
For the folks that are listening, there is egg salad, but Drew is bringing a refrigerated, a pack. So
it's going to be refrigerated.
Egg salad, 24-hour egg salad. We're dropping like flies.
Join Craig and the guys for Mississippi Sports Today on Super Talk 101.9.
When injury knocks you out, Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi will be there for you every step of the way. We are here to get you back in the game, back in motion, back to your life. Our elite team of orthopedic specialists will work side by side with you, educating you about your treatment plan, utilizing advanced technology, and providing you with a successful path to recovery. Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi. We will get you back.
Here, you can be your best. The best train here. Learn here. Succeed here. Perform here. Win here. Thrive here. Itawamba Community College. The best start here.
And we're talking with Dr. Jay Allen, the president here at Itawamba Community College. Dr. Allen, one thing, and I know you don't like to talk about yourself, but I do want to bring this up here. You're always making a point, no matter if you're in Jackson that morning and there's an event in fine arts that night.
Yeah.
You want to be there. You want to support these kids. Why is that so important to you as the president of the college?
It's important, number one, it reminds me why I do what I do and why I deal with the difficult decisions and why I deal with the difficult phone calls, visits and the like, and spend a lot of time on the road at the Capitol helping to secure funding for our community colleges as a whole and for this institution, this college. But it's what reminds me of that. So it's selfish in that sense.
Right.
Be honest, selfish in that sense because I need that reminder.
Right.
I need that. But it's what I enjoy. Mm-hmm. And in my early career, I got to work with a student recruiting group, and I was a student in, president of that group, and then I got to be their sponsor and one of their sponsors and provide key leadership for them and help them at events to help us to host people and market our college and the like. That was the funnest part of my job. Mm-hmm. And the more I moved up in my progression career-wise, the less time I got to spend with them. Mm-hmm. And wasn't always fun. Mm-hmm. And so every level up changed that dynamic. And so this gives me a semblance of that. That's why I eat in the cafeteria on a daily basis. That's why I go in there and eat at night sometimes. I'll go catch a breakfast every so often. I also get to find out what our students are experiencing.
Yep. Yes.
Is this the level we need or not? And how can we improve? But then to be able to see those athletes, those performing arts students, general students, how's it going? Tell me about, you still got straight A's? That's my favorite question to ask. I'll ask it in the cafeteria today. You still got straight A's? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's the third day. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. And I'm like, I'm going to ask the same thing in 3 weeks. And they're like, I don't know about that. Yeah. But it's that building that rapport with them. Sometimes they ask me for help. Mm-hmm. They have a problem. And I'm like, I can't solve that for you, but I know who can. Right. Let me get you to the right person. To be able to walk in the student activities building, visit with students, to get to one of our other campuses. It's so fun to see a student who has been a general student here at Fulton, heavily involved, and now they're in the nursing program. Yes. And they're going over to the Tupelo campus. They may still live on campus here, but they're driving over to Tupelo, and you get to see them in that environment and see that continued success is huge. To talk with athletes about their practices, their performance, what's next, who's next, all those things. Are you okay? Are you healing? I know you got an injury, you're in a cast or whatever. Right. We talk through those things. That's rewarding to me. I think it's probably rewarding to the students.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I was going to say that was one thing I always hear from the students is they're like, oh, man, Dr. Allen, it's not like buddy, but, they have that relationship where they feel like, hey, Dr. Allen's here, Dr. Allen cares, and that really embodies what we do here at ICC.
Absolutely. Now, our leadership team may not be always excited about it because sometimes I've come back to them with issues and challenges and things that I need them to go solve because I've seen from a different viewpoint sometimes. And I kid you, they love to do that. They just know that when I call, they're like, oh gosh, what's now? But it also how we see what needs to be done next. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something we're going to talk about in a minute. It's kind of the future. But what do we need to do next to improve that environment for our students? Our building, our academic and student center at the Tupelo campus changed the face of that campus, not just the front of campus to Easton Boulevard, but it changed the flow of that campus, and that has become a hub. Mm-hmm. And so then we have conversations, okay, so then what's next there? How do we renovate other space to help accommodate some of those students that could even take it a step further in another building, more quiet study space, those type things. It's a constant churn for us. But as I go through there and I sit and see what people are doing, I'm like, okay, this is working. This was a right investment. When I go to around campus, exam time, to hand out my Smarties, my candy of choice, and I hand out Smarties because I tell them it's going to make them smarter.
Yes.
I see people studying in Magnolia Hall in those study rooms that we built, and I know that investment was worth it. I'll go down to Wesley. I'll go to BSU. I'll go over to the Crew Ball Education Building and see them studying there, to the library, to the Student Activities Building. Anywhere I can find them, and I give them a Smartie, and I'll talk to them about what they're studying. But I see that our investments are paying off, but I also see what we need to do next.
Right. And, you talk about your Smarties, and I saw some over the weekend and made me laugh.
Yes.
I noticed the only time you ever give me Smarties is when I'm in a broadcast. So is that you're trying to help me sound a little bit smarter?
I'm trying. It may not be to help you sound smarter. It's just to help you have enough energy to get
go.
through. Because, and they are gluten-free. So, I mean, there's positive.
Better,
it's even better.
Yeah.
But, it's funny. I don't know. I jokingly say that I think I'm the only community college president, maybe the only president in the country that has a horticulture degree. I could be wrong, but I think I am, which is unique. And I'm probably the only one that's eating Smarties on a regular basis and goes around handing them out. And they're in every vehicle I have, personal or my college. They're in them. They're in there. And I get really upset if they're not. And because that's what gets me through some of those long trips.
Yes. All right, so let's just talk about the future. We can talk athletics and fine arts at the same time, but what is the vision of the college, maybe your vision, whenever it comes to building on the success and continue the success of fine arts and athletics?
So you think about fine arts and athletics, you think of facilities. Those make a big impact. The renovation of the auditorium here in the fine arts building at the Fulton campus, huge impact. All the way around. Showpiece now instead of orange, chairs and stuff. But it's come a long way. We've got plans for other renovations in fine arts building there that will make huge impact. Our band hall facility is tremendous and great opportunity. Not just the fact that it's a storm shelter as well, but and we've gotten to where we use that large space for some events and dinners and things. We appreciate that willingness and that partnership between our music department and us to use that space. What is next? How do we keep our fine arts equipment up to date? That's not cheap stuff. How do we keep attracting quality faculty and leaders in those areas? Athletics, how do we continue to improve upon the facilities we have, replace the facilities that we have, or build something that we don't have that will move it forward? You know me, I like it when I can solve multiple problems for multiple teams at one time. That's icing on the cake, as I say. And so we have some of those things in the works. Money is always the biggest challenge. Sometimes time. You can't shut down a field during their season.
Correct.
Which means we got to have the field work start immediately after season and finish before the season starts, or we got a lot of different problems. So the willingness of those coaches to be flexible around off-season times and how do they practice and how do they do things, scrimmages and the like. And I know softball scheduled a lot of things away this fall so that we could get everything finished in softball. Baseball has done the same thing this year. We just have to have that flexibility. We know there's more we want to do and need to do, and we'll get there. But we won't get there overnight. And the college is over 75 years old, and so it took us 75 years to get to, or plus to get to where we are, and we know it's going to take some more. But we also like to see the way things are done other places. So we tour other community colleges, other universities, both in the state and beyond, to see what can we take from that as a best practice or a great idea to bring to us within our budget, how our budget would allow.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Dr. Adam, we're going to take one more break.
Yes.
We're going to come back and just look at the overall vision and future of the college and a little bit more here on the ICC Hour. Back with more right after this.
It feels like the deck is stacked against you before you even start your business. What's the difference between someone who fails and someone who succeeds? To succeed, you need an edge. You might invent technology that nobody else can imagine. Maybe you make the perfect product with the perfect fit. But what every successful business has is a bank that is there for them. Instead of saying slow down, a bank that asks, what's next? Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
When injury knocks you out, Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi will be there for you every step of the way. We are here to get you back in the game, back in motion, back to your life. Our elite team of orthopedic specialists will work side by side with you, educating you about your treatment plan, utilizing advanced technology, and providing you with a successful path to recovery. Orthopedic Institute of North Mississippi. We will get you back.
Enjoy.
Stuffed crust, buttery garlic spread. Little Caesars really stepped it up with their stuffed crazy crust.
They really jazzed it up. Yeah! They really plussed this crust up.
They really dolled it up.
Everyone out my house. How did y'all even get in here?
The housekeeper gave me a key.
Order stuffed crazy crust for $9.49 and get your game day delivered with Little Caesars.
Pizza.
That's home. That's just like the Ravens. That's just like Pahokee, Florida. That's my second home. I got my degree from there, my first degree, college degree. It's part of my heart, it's part of my soul, it's part of my spirit. And, you know, it's everything. Itawamba Community College, baby, it's everything. It shaped me up to being a great man because it was part of the journey of me becoming the young man I am today. And it's home, man. That's it. Like, I could go there and lay my head down without no problems. Itawamba Community College, the best story here.
Well, Dr. Allen, I've taken up a lot of your time today, and I appreciate it very much. But I'm just going to open the floor for final thoughts. Challenges you may want to issue to somebody, or why should somebody come to ICC? So I like to do this. The floor is yours.
It's never too late to learn. It's never too late to complete a degree or to start a new career field. I want people to understand that and know that, whether it be for themselves, for a parent, for a child, it's never too late. We are the most affordable higher education in North Mississippi, second most in the whole state. We work hard to keep those costs down. When I look at what we do as a college and all that we provide, it's kind of amazing we're able to pull that off, but our people are working hard at that. I hope people take advantage of that. I know that prosperity will pass through our doorways for people, that we can put you on a path to prosperity. That doesn't always mean money. It can mean quality of life. It can mean opportunities. I believe we can be a huge part of that. It doesn't have to have a 4-year degree. We have graduates leaving our career tech programs, health science programs every day, and they're starting in the $50,000 range and then up. Mm-hmm. We have one individual I know, because I talked with his dad about this. He's over $100,000 in year 3.
Wow.
2-year degree.
Yep.
No debt, no student debt.
Mm-hmm.
Started at 20 years old working. That is unbelievable impact, life-changing family impact.
So that's lineage change.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's generational.
Yep.
But it takes leaning in. Mm-hmm. And I throw that challenge to all our students. If they will lean in a little harder, if they will be a little more engaged in the classroom, if they'll be a little more focused in the classroom, never miss class unless you absolutely have to.
Right.
Stay awake and take good notes. That is my key. That was my key to success. I didn't come in with the best ACT score. I didn't come in with the best high school GPA. Heavily involved in high school without a doubt. Student leader, yes. But man, when I got to college, I realized I could do this and I could do it well. And so I throw that challenge out to lean in a little more, get a little more involved in that educational experience. It will pay off. It can mean scholarship dollars. Yeah. It can mean opportunities. Shadow somebody in your career field to make sure you know that's what you want to do. Or if you don't know, shadow people in different career fields. Ask a lot of questions. That's a great way to learn. And to learn if this is a place you want to be working in or not. Try to get a internship, a practicum. It doesn't have to be paid. It can be an apprenticeship that is paid. Wonderful opportunity. Our college can help you even look at how to do that. So throw it out. Great opportunities here. Come take advantage of them.
And I think that's a great way to wrap up the show. I do invite you to visit iccms.edu. Come by and visit us, Belden, Tupelo, Fulton. Come understand why we say the best start here at ICC.
Absolutely.
So that's going to do it for the show. Dr. Allen, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Adam, and your listeners.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with more of the ICC Hour. Have a blessed week, and as always, Roll Tribe.